Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Thursday, June 16th, 2022. Today I'm going to recap Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, look ahead to Game 6 of the NBA Finals, Major League Baseball, WNBA, Major League Soccer, golf, my latest NBA mock draft, news and notes, and my best bet of the day. All right, we'll start with the Stanley Cup Final. Game 1 was last night. And the Avalanche came out on top by a score of 4-3 in overtime on a game winner by Andrei Burakovsky as the Avs take a 1-0 series lead. The number 3 started game with 2 assists, Mikko Rantanen. Number 2 started game with the goal and assist, Gabriel Landeskog. And the number 1 started game with the overtime winner, Burakovsky. The Avs got off to a fast start, 7:47 in. Gabriel Landeskog scores his 9th of the postseason, assists from Mikko Rantanen and Bowen Byram to take a 1-0 lead. Then about a minute and a half later, Valeri Nichushkin, his 6th of the postseason, from Nathan MacKinnon, his 8th assist. 2-0 Avs. Then about 3 minutes later, the Lightning get on the board on a goal by Nick Paul, his 4th of the postseason, from Victor Hedman, his 13th assist, and Braden Point, his 3rd, to make it 2-1. Then Artturi Lehkonen, his 7th of the postseason, on a power play with about 2.5 minutes left of the first period. Assist from Gabriel Landeskog and Mikko Rantanen. Landeskog's 10th and Rantanen's 14th make it a 3-1 Avalanche lead. Second period, Andre Palat gets the Lightning within 1. His 9th of the postseason assist from Brian McDonough, his 4th assist, and Nikita Kucherov, his 17th, to make it a 3-2 game. Then Mikhail Sergachev, his 2nd of the postseason. Assist from Brandon Hagel, his 4th, and Anthony Cirelli, his 5th, to make it 3-3. No goals in the third. Then in overtime, Burakovsky, his 2nd in the postseason. Assist from JT Compher, his 3rd, and Valeri Nichushkin, his 5th, to give the Avalanche a 4-3 lead. Or 4-3 win. And a 1-0 series lead. Game 2 will be Saturday night, 8 o'clock on ABC. As the Avalanche host the Lightning, we'll preview and pick that game on tomorrow night's podcast. Okay, now I'll move on to the NBA Finals. Tonight is Game 6. The title could be decided tonight, or Boston can win, and it's Game 7 Sunday night in San Francisco. 9 o'clock, ABC, Mike Breen, Mark Jackson, Jeff Van Gundy on the call. My projection is Boston by 1, total 215 and 4/5, and Boston is favored by 3.5, and the total is, it's back down to 3.5. It was at 4, now it's back down to 3.5. Total's 210. I still like the over, because of each team's capability of getting hot from 3, especially the Warriors. But this is the road game, so I would say it's more about Boston's capability of getting hot from 3. I picked Boston to win the series, and I'm not sure if they still will or not. But at gunpoint, I do think we'll see a Game 7 on Sunday night. So, I don't know if I'll take the minus 3.5. Maybe I'll move the Celtics, the Warriors to plus, 10.5. Or if you go the other way, you do Boston up to plus 3.5 or something like that, because you just can't see them getting blown out at home. But for the pick for the podcast, I'm going to go with the over. And then some other ideas for a same game parlay. Player points. I'm going to pick 1 over and 1 under. My over pick, I'm going to go with the guy that's been red hot in the series and is the reason why the Golden State Warriors are up 3-2 in the series. Andrew Wiggins over 17.5 points. Just very impressed with the way he's playing. I said to somebody the other day that he could be the finals MVP, but really it's Stephen Curry, and I could see it being Curry at a losing effort as well. And then under I'm going to go with in this game, I'm going to go under 4.5 for Grant Williams because I just don't think he's been very good in this series, and I don't think Boston will see a lot of its bench tonight. I think you're going to see heavy minutes from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, so I would go over for both of those guys as well. And even Al Horford, I like his over 9.5 too. My rebounds pick over for a same-game parlay. Curry over 5.5 rebounds is easy. And an under rebounds pick. This is a tough one. Who will go under their rebounds? Marcus Smart under 4.5 is a good one, so I'll go with that. Minus 142. And then assists. Who will go over their assist total? I'll say Steph over 5.5 at plus 104. And someone that will go under, I'm going to say, I hate to do this, but I'm going to say the person that goes under, because I took him under for rebounds, I'm going to take him under for assists too. That's Marcus Smart under 5.5 at minus 150. And then just for fun, for three-pointers, I love picking the three-pointer over-unders. Steph's over is a no-brainer, over 4.5 at minus 115. He'll bounce back. And someone that will go under for their three-pointers. Derek White, under 1.5, minus 113. I just don't think he has been very good in this series. All right, now I'll move on to Major League Baseball. We will go over the results from yesterday, and we will look ahead to today's games. Phillies over the Marlins 3-1. The Phils are 32-31. They're over 500. Miami 28-33. They won on a walk-off home run by Garrett Stubbs. So an exciting win for Philly after the bad loss they suffered 2 nights ago. White Sox over the Tigers 13-0. Chicago 30-31. Detroit 24-38. Astros over the Rangers 9-2. Astros 39-24. Texas 29-33. D-backs over the Reds 7-4. D-backs 30-35. Cincinnati 23-40. Royals over the Giants 3-2. Royals 21-41. San Fran 35-21. Twins over the Mariners 5-0. Twins 37-28. Seattle 28-35. Braves over the Nationals 8-2 for the 14th straight win. They're 37-40 or 37-27. Washington is 23-42. Yankees over the Rays 4-3. Yanks are 46-16. That's 30 over 500. Tampa 35-27. Blue Jays over the Orioles 7-6-10 on a walk-off single by Vlad Guerrero Jr. Toronto 37-25. Baltimore 27-37. Brewers over the Mets 10-2. Brewers 35-29. Mets 41-23. Red Sox over the Athletics 10-1. Red Sox 34-29. Oakland 21-43. Pirates over the Cardinals 6-4. Pirates 25-37. St. Louis 37-28. Padres over the Cubs 19-5. Padres 40-24. Cubs 23-39. I think that's what I had for best bet. Oh my God! Wow, Padres went over by themselves. I had that under. Guardians over the Rockies 7-5. Guardians 31-27. Colorado 27-36. And the Dodgers over the Angels 4-1. Dodgers 39-23. LA 29-35. All right, now we look at today's slate. Very small slate for a Thursday. Only 9 games. 1:30. A's Red Sox from Fenway. Paul Blackburn and Rich Hill. The Red Sox are minus 166. Oakland's plus 140. Over under 9.5. Over is minus 112. Under is minus 108. Boston plus 1.5 is minus 154. Or that's Oakland. And then Boston minus 1.5 is plus 128. I'm going to go with the over in this game. Paul Blackburn's been pretty good. But you know what's been pretty good lately? The Boston offense. 2:20 Padres Cubs. Joe Musgrove and Matt Swarmer. The Padres are minus 188. The Cubs are plus 158 over under 10.5. Overs minus 124. Unders plus 102. Padres minus 1.5 is minus 122. Cubs plus 1.5 is plus 102. I want to say the under again, but I lost best bet because I went with that under. So, for this game, I'm going to go with under 5.5 first half total runs. Just to do something a little different for that game. 3 o'clock, Orioles, Blue Jays. Tyler Wells and Kevin Gossman. Toronto's minus 260, Baltimore's plus 215, over under 8, overs minus 115, unders minus 105. Baltimore plus 1.5 is even money. Blue Jays minus 1.5 is minus 120. I'm going to go with the under because Gossman's just been really good this year and Wells has actually not been terrible for Baltimore. Guardians, Rockies. Tristan McKenzie and Chad Cole. Guardians minus 134, Rockies plus 114, over under 11.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Guardians minus 1.5 is plus 114, Rockies plus 1.5 is minus 137. I went with the Rockies. They have some value. 47.2% chance to win according to SP and Analytics, and they're plus 114. I'm going with the Rockies. 7 o'clock, the Phils and the Nationals. Zach Wheeler and Patrick Corbin. Phils minus 198, Nats plus 166, over under 9, overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Phils minus 1.5 is minus 126, Nats plus 1.5 is plus 105. It's another hard one. But I'm going to go with first half total runs under 4.5 at minus 102. I don't feel good about it, though. Rays, Yankees. Jalen Beeks and Luis Severino. The Yanks are minus 250. The Rays are plus 205. Over under 8. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Rays plus 1.5 is plus 102. Yankees minus 1.5 is minus 132. Yankees going for their 14th consecutive home win, which is insane. This kind of just feels like the Yankees' year. It's amazing. I don't like going over in any Rays games in particular, so I don't want to go there. But the Yanks are just too good. I mean, it's so hard to pick against them. So, for this game, I don't know if I want to go with first half run line with the Yanks. But I'm going to go with... I don't feel good about the pick. I'll just lay the minus 118 with the under. Under 8. Brewers, Mets. You have... Why isn't this loading? Tyler McGill and Aaron Ashby. The Mets are minus 134. Brewers plus 114. Over under 8. Overs minus 108. Unders minus 112. Brewers plus 1.5 is minus 184. Mets minus 1.5 is plus 152. Tough one, but I'm going to go with the over this time. Rangers, Tigers. Martin Perez and Bayo Brisky. Rangers minus 152. Tigers plus 128. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Rangers minus 1.5 is plus 114. Tigers plus 1.5 is minus 137. I'm going under 8.5 minus 105. Martin Perez has been really good for the Rangers this year. And the Detroit offense is the worst in baseball. And 10 o'clock, the Angels and the Mariners. Shohei Ohtani and George Kirby. Angels minus 118. Mariners even money, over under 7. Overs minus 120. Others minus 102. Angels minus 1.5 is plus 146. Mariners plus 1.5 is minus 176. My even money number in terms of percentage is 47.5. So you could argue the Angels at minus 118 have a little bit of value on the road. And 45% to me should be, or 55% should be in the that minus 125 ballpark. So I'm willing to lay minus 118 with the Angels on the money line against the Mariners. All right, now we're going to go over the WNBA results from yesterday. And I believe we have games tonight as well. I know we don't have Major League Soccer until Saturday. Yes, we do have WNBA tonight. Commissioner's Cup, Aces over the Wings, 92-84. Aces 12-2. Dallas 6-8. Kelsey Plum, 27 points. And Enrique Agumbali, 28 and 4 assists. Sun over the Dream, 105-92. That was also a Commissioner's Cup game. Connecticut 11-4. Atlanta 7-7. Courtney Williams had 20 points. And A.D. Dorr, new acquisition, 21 points. Mercury over the Fever, 93-80. The Mercury 6-9. Indiana 4-13. Tina Charles, 29 points for the Mercury. And Kelsey Mitchell, 26 points for Indiana. Only one game tonight. It's a Commissioner's Cup game. The Mystics are at the Liberty, so that is a fun game. See if Sabrina Ionescu keeps up her fine play. Ariel Atkins has been pretty good for Washington, as is Natasha Cloud and Shakira Austin. So, Elena Della Don is finally back. So she's been out, and then she played against the Mercury, so that was the other day. So I expect her to play tonight. Hopefully she does. Because that's a great story if it's her against Sabrina. The Mystics are favored by 4.5. Totals 157.5. Sabrina Ionescu's playing out of her mind right now. She's single-handedly carrying the Liberty. So I'm going to take the Liberty getting the 4.5 at home. I'm willing to take them on the money line too, plus 160, because Della Don isn't totally 100% yet, coming off that injury. So I'm going to go with the Liberty plus the points, and then I'm going to take them to win outright at plus 160. Liberty need the game. All right, now we'll move on to Major League Soccer. We had a game last night as the New England Revolution and Orlando City SC had a 1-1 draw. Carol's Gill in the 22nd minute gave New England a 1-0 lead, and then Robin Jansen in the 35th minute tied it at 1. And that's where things stood. New England is now 6th in the East, and Orlando is 5th in the East. NYCFC is leading the East, and then Philly's 1 point back, and then Montreal's in third, tied with the Red Bulls. But Montreal's the game in hand. Then it's Orlando, then New England, and then 7th is like a mismatch mess over here. But Charlotte's in that spot right now. But Cincinnati also has 19 points, but has a game in hand. So a big soccer weekend coming up, and we're going to talk about it all on the podcast tomorrow. All right, now we're going to go over the current leaderboard at the U.S. Open, which began this morning. And your leader right now, it's a three-way tie at 2 under. Matthew Neesmith, Colin Morikwa, and Ryan Henley. Tied for 4th at 1 under. Patrick Rogers, Travis Vick, Will Bessling, John Rahm, David Lingermirth, Sebastian Munoz, Max Homa, Victor Perez, and Brian Harmon. Tied for 13th at even is a big tie. Hayden Buckley, Sam Bennett, Brandon Matthews, Wyndham Clark, Adam Putnam, Adam Scott, James Pyatt, Xander Schauffele, Daniel Berger, Rory McIlroy, Kevin Kisner, Cam Young, Mark Leishman, Keegan Bradley, Stuart Hagstad, Joseph Burnett, Mackenzie Hughes, Chan Kim, Joel Dahman, Bayo Hostler, Kale Samuja, Harry Hall, Tomosayu Sugamaya, Andrew Beckler, and Keith Green. Now I'm going to go through notables because it's a lot at this point. Tied for 38th at 1 over. Davis Riley, Brett Horschel, Hideki Matsuyama, Patrick Haley, Joaquin Neiman, Aaron Weiss, Adam Schenk, Stuart Sink, Sonny Kadiara, Lucas Griffin, Roger Sloan. Tied for 57th with 2 over. Dylan McCarthy, Jordan Spieth, Scott Stallings, Harold Varner, Alex Loren, Will Zalatoris. Tied for 72nd with 3 over. Sepp Straka, Francesco Molinari. 76th with 4 over. Siwoo Kim. And then tied for 77th with 5 over. Troy Merritt and Kurt Katayama. Alrighty, so now we're going to move on to my latest NBA mock draft. We are a week away from the draft, which is amazing. And this is my 7th edition of the mock draft. And obviously next week we're going to do one every day because it's draft week, because that's how we roll on the Madison Miller podcast. All right, number 1, the Orlando Magic, Jabari Smith, power forward, Auburn. There's been a lot of Chet buzz. There's been a lot of Jabari buzz, but I'm leaning Jabari. I think Smith, you could argue, is the safest bet of the 3 because of his fine all-around play in college, although he did have some poor guard play around him. Number 2, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Chet Holmgren, power forward center, Gonzaga. The Thunder got to be doing backflips if this scenario presents itself on draft night. Holmgren is the perfect type of player for this young Thunder nucleus with his ability to create his own shot as a stretch 5 and protect the rim. Number 3, the Houston Rockets. Paolo Banchero, power forward center, Duke. The Rockets land the player here with a ton of skill and upside here in Banchero. There are mixed thoughts about a front court mix of Banchero and Albert Sengun. Christian Wood, they just dealt. We'll get into that later, but as I was making the mock draft, that trade happened. But Banchero and Jalen Green together is a nice foundation long term. Number 4, the Sacramento Kings. Jaden Ivey, point guard, shooting guard, Purdue. All signs are pointing towards Jaden Ivey being the guy at 4. But it is an odd fit considering the Kings already have De'Aaron Fox and Davion Mitchell on their team. Unless the team opts to move on to 2 point guards or this pick. Ivy is a super explosive player, but he lacks the distribution skills. Number 5, the Detroit Pistons. Keegan Murray, power forward, Purdue. The Pistons dropping to the 5th spot is not ideal, but it may not be a complete disaster as they have a couple of viable options. Murray's a nice fit here as he could be a fun pick and pop partner for Cade Cunningham with his shooting ability. Number 6, the Indiana Pacers. Benedict Mathurin, shooting guard, small forward, Arizona. A hot rumor as we've approached the draft in a week is that Mathurin and the Pacers could be a match. Mathurin really broke out last season and is your classic 3-and-D wing that a ton of teams will covet. Number 7, the Portland Trailblazers. Dyson Daniels, shooting guard, G League Ignite. This would be a major reach for the Blazers if this was the selection, but Daniels has been a super fast riser of late. There's been talks of even going as high as 5th to the Pistons, which is insane. People are skeptical of Daniels due to shooting numbers, but he's a solid defender and gets to the basket. Number 8, the New Orleans Pelicans from the Los Angeles Lakers. Sheldon Sharp, guard, Kentucky. The Pelicans are a little bit of a wild card with this pick, with all the options they have. Sharp didn't play at Kentucky, but can shoot the lights out of the ball in a bench role on this Pelicans team. Number 9, the San Antonio Spurs. Jalen Duren, center, Memphis. The Spurs have some options here with their selection, and they should have their eyes on a big with their first of 3 picks. Duren has double-double potential, and he would fit nicely with this newer Spurs young core that they have. Number 10, the Washington Wizards. Johnny Davis, shooting guard, Wisconsin. This would be a very interesting pick for the Wizards since Bradley Beal is the face of trade rumors. Davis is a very selfless player, and even if the Wiz were to keep Beal, he and Davis would be a fun pair together on the perimeter. 11, the New York Knicks. A.J. Griffin, small forward, Duke. This pick would be a slam dunk for the Knicks despite their need for a point guard. Griffin had a fine season for the Blue Devils, and he can come in and provide some good shooting and athleticism. 12, the Oklahoma City Thunder from the Los Angeles Clippers. Osame Dieng, small forward, France. This pick would be a major reach for the Thunder, and the player, like Dieng, is someone that the Thunder should be targeting, though, but I don't know if this pick is the right pick for it. Dieng was inconsistent in the NBL, but has tremendous upside with his shot making and ball handling. 13, the Charlotte Hornets. Mark Williams, center, Duke. The third Duke player in this mock I have gone to Charlotte. The Hornets badly need a center, and Williams is somebody who had a great tournament in which his stock rose, but he doesn't have high upside. 14, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Ochai Agbaji, shooting guard, Kansas. This would be an interesting selection for the Cavs, who can use some depth on the wing. Agbaji really put himself in a good position to return to school and winning most outstanding player in the tournament to be a first-rounder. 15, the Charlotte Hornets from the New Orleans Pelicans. Jeremy Schoen, small forward, power forward, Baylor. This would be a very interesting pick for the Hornets, who have an abundance of forwards. Schoen is someone that really showed off an elite skill set this past season with the Bears. 16, the Atlanta Hawks. Malachi Branham, shooting guard, small forward, Ohio State. What is interesting here is not only Branham here could be a reach, but the Hawks are a team that has a lot of solid wings. Branham can shoot it well from 3 and gets into the paint quite often. Number 17, the Houston Rockets from the Brooklyn Nets. Tari Eason, power forward, LSU. With their second first rounder, I have the Rockets going with the solid player in Eason. He had a breakout season for the Tigers and is an excellent defender, but he has some offensive flaws. 18, the Chicago Bulls. Jalen Williams, shooting guard, Santa Clara. The Bulls are one of the unknowns as we head into the draft in a week. Williams has been a big-time riser of late in terms of draft prospects and showed tremendous potential as a 3-and-D wing. 19, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Walker Kessler, center, Auburn. The Timberwolves are an up-and-coming team to the point that they may looked upon as a West sleeper next season. Kessler is somebody that can help the Timberwolves protect the rim since he's an amazing shot blocker. 20, the San Antonio Spurs from the Toronto Raptors. Dalen Terry, point guard, shooting guard, Arizona. Terry's a fast-rising prospect with the draft approaching next week. Terry is somebody that has great character on and off the court and has the perfect type of Spursy player. 21, the Denver Nuggets. Ty Washington, point guard, Kentucky. Washington falling all the way down to the 20s would be somewhat surprising despite flaws. Team C. Washington plays with a ton of energy and has positional versatility, which would be fun with this Nuggets team. 22, the Memphis Grizzlies from the Utah Jazz. E.J. Little, power forward, Ohio State. Little falling down this far would be a steal. Little is a steady player and somebody that is a little bit more mature, but improved each and every year at Ohio State. 23, the Philadelphia 76ers. Jaden Hardy, shooting guard, G League Unite. The Nets chose the furthest pick to 2023, which says a ton about how they may feel about the 76ers next season, so there is some pressure to nail this pick. Hardy is a player they didn't have, he didn't live up to the hype with Unite, but has a ton of potential that he can unlock. 24, the Milwaukee Bucks. Blake Wesley, shooting guard, Notre Dame. The Bucks are just searching for players that can help them while they have Giannis Antetokounmpo at the peak of his powers. Wesley didn't impress much in college, but can shoot the lights out of the ball. Number 25, the San Antonio Spurs from the Boston Celtics. Nikola Jovic, power forward, Serbia. The Spurs going with Jovic here would be very interesting. He's the safest bet of the international players in this draft, and he's your classic point forward type of player that does a little bit of everything. 26, the Houston Rockets from the Dallas Mavericks. Wendell Moore Jr., shooting guard, small forward, Duke. The Rockets acquired this pick as I was doing this mock draft as Christian Wood goes to Dallas. Moore has lottery talent, but didn't put it all together until this season with his floor spacing and three-point shooting. 27, the Miami Heat. Marjon Beecham, shooting guard, G League Ignite. The third player from the loaded G League Ignite team I have going here in Beecham. He's a really good scorer and can be a heat check guy for the Heat, who can end up back in contention next season if they keep the current group intact or if they make that big play for that star. More likely the latter. 28, the Golden State Warriors. Jake LaRavia, power forward, Wake Forest. The Warriors are just looking for depth pieces at this point, or they may trade out this pick altogether. LaRavia has good aspects of the game and can shoot the three ball well, which bodes well for today's NBA. 29, the Memphis Grizzlies. Kennedy Chandler, point guard, Tennessee. This would be a nice pick for the Grizzlies, who are picking for depth pieces on what should be a title contender. If it wasn't for poor measurements, Chandler could have been a lottery pick due to his other attributes. And number 30, the Denver Nuggets from the Oklahoma City Thunder via the Phoenix Suns. David Roddy, power forward, Colorado State. The Nuggets get this pick from the Thunder for veteran Jermichael Green, and now they continue the pick for depth pieces on a possible title contender. Roddy is someone that is a stretch four and could be a mismatch for defenders with his three-point shot. So that's the mock draft for today's show, and I'll have yet another one on Monday. All right, news and notes time. Not that much to get into. The big story from yesterday is that the Mavericks acquire Christian Wood from the Houston Rockets for the 26th pick. Boban Marjanovic, Trey Burke. Who else is in this deal? Marquise Chris, Sterling Brown, and that's the deal. I think that is at the surface you'll say that's a lot for Christian Wood. But really, I think it's somewhat fair on both sides, but I like it for Dallas a lot. They filled an important position of need and got a pretty solid big to go with Luka Doncic. And Christian Wood is a big that can shoot, which is good. So, a really nice pickup for the Dallas Mavericks here. And Houston gets a first rounder for him. Granted, it's a late pick. But this also gives the Rockets an opportunity to trade up in the draft. Again, another potential lottery pick. With the pick they got for James Harden and now this pick, they have a possibility to move up and get another big chess piece to go with Jalen Green. So that's why I really don't mind it for the Rockets either, because of the possibilities this opens it up for on draft night involving the 26th pick. And then Marquise Chris underwent knee surgery yesterday and will rehab after being acquired in the Wood deal. So that was announced. Shohei Ohtani, there's a report saying that his future seems murkier than ever with the Angels, which is very interesting. And now, if he becomes a trade chip, the Angels can get a haul back. Like, say if you're a team that's, like, close to contending, if not already a contender, and you add Ohtani to what you already have, that would just be incredible. Like, I just love the idea of him on the Yankees, but they don't have room for him in their rotation. They could use his offense, but they just don't have room for him in their rotation unless they include like a Nestor Cortez or a Jordan Montgomery in a trade. which I've seen teams do that before, like trade someone at that position to upgrade. So I think the Yankees could put together a nice package like a Miguel Andujar. You could throw in Cortez, who trade value has never been higher. Anthony Volpe, the young shortstop in the minors. Or one of their other young shortstop prospects like Peraza. Austin Wells, the good young hitting catcher. I think the Yankees could put together a nice package for Shohei Ohtani. I wonder if the Mets could be involved here. Would the Red Sox be willing to do it if he's willing to stay in Boston long term? Maybe the Texas Rangers, but I don't know if they would trade in division. I don't know if they would trade in the city, so I would not really say that the Dodgers are a threat. Unless the Dodgers do a trade something similar to how they pull off the Betts deal and how they've pulled off some other stuff to try to upgrade over what they already have. So I just don't see the Angels trading in division or with the Dodgers. That's why I think the Yankees are interesting and the Mets and the Red Sox. I don't see the Blue Jays getting involved because they just have a ton of players that they already traded away, and their farm system is not as good after trading for Matt Chapman and Jose Barrios. Maybe the Twins would be very interesting. Would they be able to put together a nice package? The White Sox are a big market team. I don't think the Cubs are in play for him unless they sign him outright as a free agent, because the Cubs are just really bad right now. So I think Ohtani would have a ton of options. And speaking of Ohtani, he broke up a no-hitter last night as he hit a triple to end Tyler Anderson's bid at history with one out in the ninth. So that was pretty interesting that Ohtani broke up the no-hitter yesterday. Department of Justice asks federal court to narrowly define Major League Baseball's 100-year-old antitrust exemption. So that is very interesting. A.J. Hinch had a team meeting after the 13-0 blowout loss against the White Sox, as A.J. Hinch calls it embarrassing. Phil Maton threw an immaculate inning as the Astros become the first team in Major League Baseball history to throw two immaculate innings after Phil Maton completed one. So that was pretty cool. So there's a dual threat. Jurangelo Cizinche, he was at the MLB Combine, so that's very interesting. There was a Columbus Blue Jackets fan caught in Colorado yesterday, and it was viral on Twitter. Gary Bettman had his annual press conference yesterday before the Stanley Cup final, and he announces that the league made over $5.2 billion this season, so that's pretty cool. And next season, the 22-23 season starts October 11th, so we're back to normalcy in terms of a start date in the NHL, so that is really good news. The other big story from yesterday is that Minkah Fitzpatrick, 4 years, $73.6 million extension with the Steelers, and becomes the highest paid safety ever. Minkah Fitzpatrick's amazing. He's perhaps the best safety in football right now. Steelers took care of him. He deserved to get taken care of. So you have him and TJ Watt making big money on the Steelers now. And now we're going to see how this group comes together with a new quarterback. Mekhi Becton wore an interesting shirt for his doubters. It said, "Fat, lazy, injury prone." As he's wearing this shirt for motivation from doubters. Marcus Davenport amputates his pinky finger because of an infection from college. That's crazy. Aaron Boone won't commit to a closer once Aroldis Chapman returns, as he hinted at going with a closer by committee. I think Clay Holmes should permanently be the guy. He's having a career year. He hasn't given up a run since earlier in the season, so he deserves to be the closer. WWE board investigating Vince McMahon as the board is looking into a $3 million settlement that McMahon agreed to pay his former employee whom he allegedly had an affair with. Yikes. Jacob deGrom expected back in July, according to Ken Rosenthal. And we already talked about yesterday that Jack Flaherty came back for the Cardinals. So let's hope that deGrom comes back sooner rather than later for the Mets. All right, last but not least, my best bet of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. Best bet obviously was a big L yesterday. The Padres went over by themselves. I took the under in that game with them and the Cubs. So for today's best bet, I'm going to lay a half unit. The Yankee over-under went down to 7.5. The Angels went up to -122. A lot of these lines just change on the fly. So for this game, I'm going to go... this is so hard. Oh. You know what? It's NBA Finals Game 6. We're going over 210. I'm just going to make that my best bet. Over 210 between the Celtics and the Warriors for my best bet of the day. Let's hope for this goes 7. All right, so that's it for today's show. I'll be back tomorrow recapping Game 6 of the NBA Finals. And hopefully previewing a Game 7. And also we have Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final to preview. Major League Baseball, WNBA, Major League Soccer, golf. Only one NASCAR race this weekend. It's the Truck Series. And then NHL mock draft maybe. And then news and notes and best bet for you as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.